The Denver Broncos have boosted their biggest defensive holes. The second level, Dre Greenlaw, the assassin, sideline to sideline, spearing human beings for a living. And Hufanga, an all-pro, plays as fierce as his name suggests, Hufanga. With the flow of Troy Polamalu, he plays like it's his last snap on every single down. The Denver Broncos fans will love these two individuals because they're 49er freaks. That's what they are. These two guys are fast, fearless, tough, and really good when they're on the field, which is the key underline, when they're on the field. Dre Greenlaw, linebacker formerly of the Niners, has signed a 3-year, $35 million deal coming off an Achilles, which is a key ingredient. While Talanoa Hufanga has agreed to a 3-year, $45 million deal. Interesting that Hufanga got more, maybe because he's considered a little younger and a little healthier and didn't have an Achilles injury. But Dre Greenlaw, 6 foot, 230, not the tallest. Okay? Doesn't really matter, though. Never heard him in the past. 27 years old. Will be 28 to start 2025. Didn't really play in 2024 due to the Achilles he suffered in the Super Bowl, which was one of the most freakish, most disappointing, most annoying injuries in NFL history. I really feel like if Dre Greenlaw plays the entire game in Super Bowl, whatever it is, against the Chiefs, they probably win. Because as soon as he left the game, Travis Kelce started doing his Taylor Swift shenanigans and going off. Okay? But Dre Greenlaw has been one of the best linebackers in football when healthy over the past 3 to 4 years. Okay? 120 plus tackles in 2023 and 2022. He had last year in 2023, so this most recent sample size, he had 4 passes defensed, 1.5 sacks, and he had 4 quarterback hits. Now, he is not a big stat guy. You have to actually watch Dre Greenlaw to appreciate how good of a player he is. The thing about Dre Greenlaw is his speed, his relentlessness, is his makeup time, is how much ground he can cover, things like that. Very good in coverage, very good in space and zone coverage. His reaction speed, his explosiveness, those are things that stand out about Dre Greenlaw and just his overall toughness. He was even good back when he was the third linebacker for the 49ers, right? When they were fielding guys like Kwan Alexander above him and things like that. Al-Shaair was also a compliment to the trio with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. So he never, was like a huge tackle guy. And like if you even look at his snap percentages, like his highest percentages, 2020 he played 82%, 2022 he played 88%, 2023 he played 89%. Those are the highest of his career, but he's also kind of worked in rotation throughout his career as well. But yeah, I think he's been at times a top 10 linebacker in football, playing as a weak side backer alongside Fred Warner as the middle linebacker. It'll be interesting to see what exact role he plays in Denver. Whether they see him more as like the middle linebacker type, the dot player, or if that's still going to be Alex Singleton, or if they'll use him to his strength like he was in San Francisco, where he's just free roaming and being an absolute dog. I don't think it's that expensive. Honestly, for Dre Greenlaw, I feel like he looked pretty good when he returned last year to the field. I thought he looked amazing against the Rams in the first half of that game. The only thing is you have to watch for the injuries. Injuries might start to pile up with him, which would be very disappointing. But he's only 28, so it's not like he's in his 30s. And at least he has a couple games of tape under his belt to understand that he has recovered from his injury. So that's a big factor. I feel like if he had not played at all last year, he would have made a lot less money, and he probably would be on the 49ers right now. But I love Greenlaw, great player, ferocious player. He's gonna totally upgrade the Broncos. you're going to see an instant impact with his speed on the field. The other player is Talanoa Hufanga, who is going to be the complement to Brandon Jones, who broke out for the secondary of the Broncos. And what I love about these signings is they've directly addressed the two biggest weaknesses of the Broncos, arguably on their roster, but definitely on their defense, right? They have a really good edge rusher in Nick Benito. They have a really good interior. They re-signed former 49er DJ Jones. They have John Franklin Myers. Zach Allen is an absolute stud. Brandon Jones is a good player. Pat Surtain is the defensive player of the year. Riley Moss is the best white corner in the league. And Jaquan McMillan is a decent nickel corner. So they really had no flaws besides linebacker and safety. And they fulfilled both of those flaws. And if they hit on both of these flaws and signings, they have hit on two Pro Bowl level players. These are two Pro Bowlers at their best, right? Hufanga was a first team All-Pro in 2022. Dre Greenlaw is a Pro Bowl level linebacker, although I don't think he's ever received the accolade. He is definitely that good of a player if you've ever seen him play. So looking at Hufanga's career, he's really only had 1 year where you can really look at him and say like, oh, that's the season. But this past year, he tried to fight through some injuries. Last year, he played a bit. So his rookie year was 2021. He was primarily like the third or fourth safety, and he played on special teams. He actually had the blocked kick against the Packers, a blocked punt for a touchdown. Remember that in the divisional round? That was him. 2022, at 23 years old, he had 4 picks. He had 97 tackles. He was a first-team All-Pro, 9 passes defensed. At 24 years old, 2023, he played 10 games. He missed a good portion of the season. He had 3 picks in 10 games, 52 tackles. This past year, he played 7 on and off again games, 38 tackles. Okay, I don't think he had an interception, which speaks to maybe a little bit of loss of explosion in his game. 96% of snaps played in 2022, 89% in 2023, 71% in 2024. I still liked his ferociousness in the run game, his ability to shoot and play the run. I think he'll be utilized well in this defense because I think he's got a unique capacity to play the run in this defense. I think he's pretty good as a blitzer because he's fearless. And I think he'll be pretty good along the line of scrimmage, kind of like a Budda Baker for Vance Joseph's defense that he had in Arizona. Kind of like Budda Baker, I could see Hufanga fulfilling a similar role. Now, in 2023, he actually was on pace to have his best passer rating allowed of his career at 60.1. So he was playing really well in 2023. And if he stays healthy in 2025, there's a reason to believe he could return to Pro Bowl caliber level because he was an All-Pro in 2022. He was playing really well in 2023. He got injured in 2023. Then he was on and off again in 2024. And the injuries he had in 2024 were kind of like, like he broke his arm or something, like he broke his wrist or his forearm or something, like bizarre injuries. They weren't like a torn ACL or anything like crazy like that. I think they're mostly upper body injuries. So things to understand, but I love these signings because I think they have huge upside. They bring character, they bring feistiness, they bring ferociousness, they bring speed, but it all comes down to health, right? That's what it comes down to is health at the end of the day. But I love these players. Rooting for the 49ers the last few years. These are two of the most fun guys to watch when they're healthy. And Broncos fans, you're really going to love these guys. I think Hufanga is a great fit at safety. He was a clear guy that they had really gone after all offseason. And Dre Greenlaw has been arguably the best number 2 linebacker in football. Now he gets a chance to be the top dog, the lead dog in Denver, to be the guy that is the Fred Warner of the Broncos. But one key stat that I saw on Twitter for Dre Greenlaw, in 2023, he had a league low negative 7.9 receptions over expected and 5 yards per target allowed, which was the least among linebackers. The 49ers defense also allowed 1.7 fewer yards per attempt on over the middle of the field with passes targeting Dre Greenlaw. They've been excellent over the middle of the field because of Greenlaw and Warner, and Greenlaw's been a big part of that. So Greenlaw, Hufanga, 2 awesome players, Pro Bowl level upside, pretty good contracts, a decent amount of money, but not egregious. Like, if these guys would have hit the market at their peak level of play, it wouldn't even be funny how much more money they would have made, right? So, and Hufanga's pretty darn young. He's 26. He's 26 now. Like, he turned 26 in February, so he's really young. And then Greenlaw is a little bit older, but not too old. So, those are the Broncos signings. I think they had a really good day because they were able to fulfill two of their biggest needs on day one of free agency.